I mean, do you set a goal?
No. The mindset I have that it don't matter where you draft me. I can tell you you're going to get a guy that's going to come in, it's going to work. That's how I got here, and that's the only thing I know. I can't promise you Rookie of the Year. I can't promise you 2,000 yards, but I can promise you that I'm going to come in and you're going to get a leader. You're going to get guys who's a competitor, who's passionate about the game, and the rest is going to take care of itself.
All right, Chris, what do you think? Barkley is worth a #2 pick for your former team, or would you think they're crazy to pass on a quarterback?
I'm not going to say he's not worth the #2 pick because I think he's a fantastic player. I think you have to look at the situation that the franchise is in. And if you're the New York Giants coming off a historically bad season, 13 losses, the most in franchise history, you're trying to reset the franchise and get it to a point where you're able to have sustainable success. And I don't know how you do that without going the direction of a franchise quarterback. I think that when you look at the teams that have taken a running back in the top 5 in recent years, and I'm looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, and looking at the Dallas Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott 2 years ago, I think those teams are in unique situations where they needed a running back in order to be competitive. The Jacksonville Jaguars already had a talented defense, so what do you do that's able to complement your strength? You go out and you get a strong running game to go with an offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys had one of the best offensive lines in football, and they had so many holes in their defense that the only way that they could protect that unit was being able to control time of possession, and the running game allowed them to do that.
And the Cowboys thought they had Tony Romo.
They
weren't going to draft a quarterback in the first round. I know they ended up drafting Dak, but people forget Romo was there coming off one of his better.
They were going for it.
Absolutely.
They were going for it, which makes sense.
Right,
and that's what I'm saying. If you're the New York Giants and you were going to try to make a push with Eli Manning, I could understand justifying trying to take a running back with the second overall pick. But that's not where the Giants are. If you look at the landscape of the NFC, I mean, there are 7 or 8 teams that you can point to and you say, yeah, those teams are clearly better than the New York Giants. So to me, you brought in Dave Gettleman and Pat Shurmur to help this franchise get back on track. And I don't know how you do that without solving the riddle that is who's going to be the successor for Eli Manning in the next year or two.
Well, I think Gettleman, they've really muddied the water because they came in and said Eli is their guy. So now at #2, the Giants they're very, very fortunate as a franchise. They have not been in this position too often. Eli Manning, last time they was in this position, and then I think there was another guy by the name of LT.
Lawrence Taylor, 1981.
So the times they have been in this position, they have drafted the right person. So you have to depend on the Giants and their ability, very rarely in this position, to get the right guy. You can't talk value of a quarterback and the quarterback being a franchise quarterback to a guy that is a running back. So if we're comparing to the quarterbacks, there's not going to be a comparison because the value that quarterbacks add to a franchise. But Barkley has the type of talent, and not like Fournette. I can understand their offensive line situation in Jacksonville, but this guy hadn't taken a pounding. I mean, he's dominated college football, but he doesn't have all those games. He doesn't have a lot of carries. He played in space a lot. So Penn State did a great job of protecting him. So for me, based on his talent, based on the impact that he can make, I could see the Giants taking him at #2 because I believe that talent and that skill transfers from college football over to pro football.
I'm against the Giants taking him at #2, but it has nothing to do with my thoughts on him as a player. I think he's extraordinary. This is one of my favorite Saquon Barkley stats. First 2 games in college football, 33 carries, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns. Last 2 games in college football, 34 carries, 214 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, he came in ready to dominate college football. He left dominating college football. I think he's awesome. I just look at the value of the pick and what best case scenario for Saquon Barkley. Best case. Let's say he's Barry Sanders. Some people think Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time. If you went back and redrafted Barry's draft, he doesn't go #1. Knowing what we know, Troy Aikman's in that draft, he goes before him. Deion Sanders maybe goes before him. Derek Thomas maybe goes before him. And that's the best running back ever to some people.
Wow.
LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the best running backs of the last 20 years. You go back and do his draft. He doesn't even go he wouldn't even be the first pick for his team. Because Drew Brees in the same draft, like they would have
second round.
You have to take Drew.
You have to take Drew. Now they ended up getting both, so it worked out great. And maybe that's what the Giants think. We could take Saquon at 2 and still get Lamar Jackson at the top of the second round if that's the way they want to go. But if you believe in Josh Rosen or Baker or Josh Allen or Sam Darnold, I don't think he'll be there. Then I feel like it is incumbent upon you to take the opportunity to have the transition. It is so rare to be able to go Peyton to Luck, Favre to Rodgers. If you can do that, if you can go Eli to franchise quarterback X, this lost season of 2017 affords you that opportunity. I believe you've got to take it.
And do you think one of these guys could be
Absolutely.
a big-time franchise
I think two of these guys will be.
Rosen and?
I think if it were my gut would say the top two guys, Rosen and Darnold. But I think I mean it is a bit of a crapshoot. My track record is about the same as a lot of NFL teams' track record on projecting the college to pro quarterback. I'm about a 50-50 hit miss rate. But I think two of these guys are going to be franchise.
Well, here's the benefit of having Eli Manning around for the next season or two. You allow him to help you groom that young franchise quarterback. Who better to learn how to play quarterback from than Eli Manning? Being able to sit in those meetings, going through the nuances of the position, understanding how to work with the communication at the line of scrimmage with all the other positions on that offensive unit, learning how to read defenses at the line of scrimmage. All of those gymnastics are important, and those are things that you don't get from the style of play in college. So there's going to be a learning curve with all of these quarterbacks. It just makes sense if you're in this position with the Giants with this type of draft capital.
Where you won't be again.
Where if things go according to plan, you don't plan on being there anytime soon. Take advantage of it by being able to get to the quarterback. So get the quarterback, because guess what? All these teams that are positioning themselves to get into the top 5, we saw the Jets make the move from 6 to 3 with the Colts. That wasn't for a position player. They're all moving up to try to get the quarterback. That just speaks to the importance of the position.
And speaking about Eli Manning, if they do select a quarterback with number 2, that might be the best place for long-term success. We saw Eli last year. Circus atmosphere, get benched. Long-time starting streak snapped. A healthy scratch by the coach. That ended up getting the coach fired. But Eli Manning, all during the week, was helping the backup get ready for the game. The way he conducted himself as a professional. So you talk about one of these young kids, because none of them are ready to play. But, man, if you were able to sit behind Eli, man, who is a gentleman, who has done well in New York City, you talking about that's a recipe for success. Because Favre, even though they drafted Rodgers, man, Favre wasn't happy.
No, he wasn't about that.
No, he wasn't about that. So all the time
and Peyton was gone.
Yeah.
Peyton wasn't there to help Luck. He left when they got Luck. He's gone. So yeah, it's a benefit you don't have.
See, what it comes down to is this: when you're weighting the importance of positions as it pertains to winning in the NFL, it's quarterback, it's guy that hits the quarterback, it's tackle, the guy that protects the quarterback, corner, wide receiver. Running back isn't in the top 5. So why would you take a running back with the 2nd overall pick?
Chris, every time you come out here, it sounds like you still want to keep playing. It sounds like you're going to rip that off. There's some sort of uniform. Like you talk like you're
Jenna, that's a young man's game out there, and I'm not a young man.
You're far
I'm not a young
from an
man
old
anymore.
man. Stick around, Chris. Coming up, did Richard Sherman do the right thing negotiating his own deal? Anyone with an agent